Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dolores Cannon Future Life Progression Live Stream. I'm Andrea. I'm a past life hypnotherapist. I'm certified in quantum healing, hypnosis technique, and beyond quantum healing. And you're tuned in to Day Trips Out of the Box, where we break free from the conditioned mind to remember who we really are and the purpose we had for coming to planet Earth. This is the last part of a three-part group regression series based on Dolores Cannon's workshop back in her heyday. You can find parts 1 and parts 2 in they're archived in my channel under live streams. You can do the past life regression in part 1, and in part 2 we looked at meeting our spirit guide. If you're curious about future lives and wonder if you will live again after you've completed this lifetime, and you want to see what that would be like, or if you're interested in a quantum healing hypnosis session, maybe you have some issues, who doesn't, and you'd like to have them resolved, but you're not sure if you could be hypnotized or if you could visualize, then you're in the right place. By the end of this workshop, you'll know if quantum hypnosis is right for you. So if you haven't already, do me a favor and go ahead and smash that like button. That way other people can find this channel and the content. And if you are interested in this content regarding quantum healing hypnosis, the subconscious, the quantum realm, and self-actualization, then consider subscribing because more videos are on the way. In today's live stream, we're going to take you to a distant future. But before that, we're going to do some visualization techniques. That way you can see for yourself just how really easy it is. If you have questions during the workshop, please hold on to those until the end. We'll do a Q&A, and which reminds me, you want to make sure that you have a piece of paper and a pen handy, because after we come out of hypnosis, it's kind of like a dream. It starts fading quickly. So we want to write that down so that way we can remember it for later when we go back to look at it. Make sure you're in a safe and quiet place where you can close your eyes and not be disturbed. Please do not listen to this recording while you're driving or operating any heavy equipment. Then please stick around to the end where I'll be presenting a very special offer for a quantum healing session with me if you should decide that this is something that you'd like to look into and do some exploration. Dolores Cannon, she was a real pioneer. She didn't let anything stop her, and she was always curious, and she was willing to push past the boundaries that were present in her day back in the 1960s when she started doing regular hypnotherapy and then came across a client who spontaneously went into a past life. And she didn't shrink from the opportunity. And she had this lady come back, and she and her husband had this lady go back 5 more past lifetimes, a total of 5 past lifetimes. And they wrote a book about it. And she started developing this technique, which she called Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, or QHHT. She traveled the world speaking, conferences, UFO conferences. She had a radio show. She was healing thousands of people with this technique and what she called the subconscious. Many consider the subconscious as the higher self, the oversoul or universal mind, because it knows everything about us, and it just remembers everything about who we are, knows why we're here and what we came to do, and it's here to remind us to stay on track. So if you've ever read any of Dolores Cannon's books and you've heard of the subconscious, what do you think it is? Is it the higher self? They call themselves we. They refer to themselves as we, and so it makes me feel like it's a collective consciousness. Well, this subconscious, or sometimes it's also called the SC, that's what we'll be working with today. This benevolent, all-knowing collective consciousness that knows each of us intimately will be our guide today to take us to the most appropriate time and place in the future. So I've read some other books besides Dolores Cannon, So there was a psychiatrist. His name was Michael Newton and also Brian Weiss. These gentlemen researched their clients. They took their clients to past lives to help them solve phobias and deep-seated depression and issues that were going on. And they found that doing past life regression was really helpful for them. And then they found out that there was also the possibility of looking at the lifetime beyond the physical. Certainly, Michael Newton was more interested in looking at the spiritual development between lives. And then they also realized that the client could be progressed into the future life. And what they found was that, yes, they could go into the future as easily as they could the past, but it depended on whether they made changes in this lifetime to where they would end up in the future. So if they did not make changes in this current lifetime, their future held even more difficulties. The probability of their future lives were more difficult as their lessons had not been learned in this lifetime. So it's just kind of, that was their timeline, was a much more difficult path until they learned the lessons. However, if the client made strides towards progress and real changes in their thinking and their choices, their prospects were much better. They were untethered from their karma and were essentially free to create their own reality. So I find that really interesting because the future isn't absolutely written. It kind of depends on what choices we make now. The now is always the most powerful point. And what we do now will depend on. So if you're looking at a future lifetime that's not too promising, just realize that it's kind of a harbinger of what changes need to be made or lessons we need to make in the now time. This lifetime is the most important lifetime. It's something to keep in mind. This theme was also represented in Christmas Carol with Ebenezer Scrooge. He got to look at his past and his present and his future. And when he woke up from his nightmare, he realized that he still had choices that he could make that could change the future. So there it is. All right. So we're going to go and do a visualization workshop. We need a little warm up to get ready for our journey. So that way you can see how easy it is and you can just relax. This is just going to be a lighthearted visualization process, as well as the journey. It's just going to be fun for our little Sunday afternoon here. So keep in mind that the subconscious that Dolores Cannon worked with uses our imagination to provide the images and the memories and the information that we need to see or sense during any hypnosis session. So just allow the images to come in without judgment and fill the scene with as much detail as you can. We want to get all the senses going, and that's the purpose of this exercise. So close your eyes, allow the images to come. Imagine now that you're standing outside the front door of your home. Look at the door. Notice the color and texture and any other interesting details about the door. What kind of handle is it? What material is the door made of? Now grab the doorknob and walk into your home. What are the first things that you see? What kind of flooring is there? What furniture is nearby? What's the first room you enter? Where is the kitchen from here? Is there anything cooking in the kitchen? And if there is, can you smell the food? Is anyone home right now? What kinds of things are on the walls of this room? Now I want you to walk to the nearest closet and open the door. There's a surprise for you in there. What is the surprise? And how does it make you feel? Okay, so you can open your eyes. In this next section, I'll be using Dolores Cannon's script from her original workshop to lead you into a guided hypnosis session to discover a future life. Now that you know how easy visualization is, you can relax that much deeper and enjoy the process. Now we're going to go into the future. And I have clients that come to see me and they want to ask them, they want me to take them 5 years into the future to see what's happening to them. And I tell them, I refuse to do that. And can you understand why? I told them because that if I took you 5 years into the future and you weren't there, then there's a possibility that you might have died somewhere between now and the next 5 years. And I don't want to do that. These people say, oh, I can handle it. I can handle it. And I say, you think you can, but you would spend the next 5 years afraid of what's going to happen. And you wouldn't be living your life the way it's supposed to be lived. You'd waste that time. So I said, no, I won't do that. So I won't take anyone into the immediate future of this life. So when we do this exercise, you're going to have a choice. You can go 100, 200, or 300 years into the future. It's your choice. Presumably, you won't be around 100 years from now, so it's safe to say whatever you see is not going to be right now. But people see some very interesting things, and I've observed in each one of those, sometimes the same scene, the same kind of conditions, I guess you would say. But this one, nobody really knows what's going to happen in the future, so it's just a fun thing anyways. This whole workshop is a fun thing. Don't take it all too seriously. You get some information, so take this exercise as a fun thing of what may or may not be in your next life in the future. Okay, so we're going to relax. Take a couple of nice deep breaths. Close your eyes. You're standing at the foot of a very tall staircase. The stairs are marble steps that are very wide and deep, so that when you walk up the steps, you have to stop on each step. Wide and deep marble steps. They go up to a platform. Walk up these marble steps. Now you have reached the top of the marble staircase. You're standing on the platform at the top of the stairs. On this platform are 3 doors. The door to your left has a 1 on it, which means the 1 on the door is 100 years into the future. The door directly in front of you has a 2 on it. The 2 means 200 years into the future. The door to your right has a 3 on it, which signifies 300 years into the future. Choose the door that you want to go through. 1, 2, or 3. Now that you have chosen the door you want to go through, open that door. When you open the door, you see a dense, thick fog in front of you. A dense, thick fog. Step into that fog. Now move through the fog. As you walk through the fog, you feel your present day body dissolving and becoming part of the fog. Move through the fog. As you do, it begins to dissipate. It begins to fade to where you'll be able to step out of it. The fog is dissipating and fading away. Now you come out of the fog. You find yourself in a different body. Become aware of this body. What is it like? Now look around you and see where you are. Sense where you are. Become aware of your surroundings. Are you inside or are you outside? Become aware of your surroundings. Now go to the place where you live, where you eat and sleep. If you do those things and see what that place looks like. Sometimes it's just a sensation or your imagination starts to fill in the images. When you go outside this place where you live, become aware if there is anybody else there. Is there anyone there who lives with you? If there is, you can tell if they're related to you or if there is any connection with them. Now go and see what it is that you do. Do you have a job or an occupation? Something that you do with your time. See yourself doing whatever it is. Now leave that scene and move forward to an important day. A day when something that you consider to be important. You've gone forward to an important day. What are you doing? What do you see? Now leave that scene and move forward to another important day. A day when something else is happening that you consider to be important. It's another important day. What's happening now? And what do you see? Now let's leave that scene and move forward to the last day of your life and this future life that we're looking at. The last day of that life, you can see what happens to you on that day. It won't bother you at all to look at it. You can look at it as an observer if you want to. The last day of your life in that lifetime. What's happening? What do you see? Now, whatever has already happened, and you're on the other side of it. Now you're going to turn around and locate the fog again. We're going to move to where you find that dense, thick fog again. As you walk back into the fog, you feel your present day body forming again around you. The present day body is back around you, and you're in that body, and you're moving toward the door that you came in. You can find the door that you came in. Open the door and come out of the future. Now you can come down the steps back into this room. You can come back down faster than when you went up. Now you're back in your room, remembering everything that you saw so that you can write it down. I'm going to count to 5, and on the count to 5, you'll be wide awake, feeling wonderful all over, remembering everything you saw. 1, 2, you're beginning to breathe faster, the blood circulating faster. You're aware of your physical body, and you're back here in this time, at this place, because you're beginning to wake up now. 3, 4, you're becoming aware of any people around you. You know you're back here in this time and this place, and that's where you were sitting in the very beginning. You're very much aware of your physical surrounding because you're back here in this time and this place, and you're waking up. 5, wide awake, feeling wonderful all over, remembering what you saw so you can write it down. So just take a few minutes to write down what it was you saw and get that down. So while people are writing that down, let me know in the comments, how many people went through door number 1? And who went through door number 2? Who went through door number 3? Did any of you see yourselves in space with ETs or people in outer space and on spaceships and things like that? You went through 3, okay. 300 years into the future, did you see yourself on a spaceship? So going into space is a typical encounter with people who go into the future. I don't say that much about the body because it can be anything and you can pick anything. So a lot of people do see themselves as an ET or on a spaceship or on other planets. They've seen planets blowing up and all kinds of things. The ones who saw yourselves as an ET, did you go through door number 1, 3, or 2? Okay, because people who go through the door number 3 a lot of times say sometimes something funny happens when they go through 3. They say they see themselves as not having a body. They see themselves as something like light or spirit form that doesn't have anything solid and they're kind of just floating around. Did you see stuff like that? This is usually, that usually happens to people who go through the 3rd door. I interpret that as you've gone to the part where you don't need a body anymore, because that's what's going to happen in the future when we go into the new earth. We will take our physical body with us at first, and then eventually we won't need it, and it will turn into a lead body. This is Dolores Cannon talking, of course. But that's what it's going to be like when we go to that part, or you may just see yourself as not being reborn and just on the spirit side. You don't have to come back to Earth or to an Earth or a planet. I've had a lot of them die when the spaceship explodes or the Earth explodes or, something like that. Some people see themselves in dome cities, something like that, and it's like they have to live in these dome cities and they can't get out of them. Did anybody see where something has happened to the Earth, like a catastrophe of some kind? And I've had other ones see where they're under the water in undersea laboratories, and they're harvesting fruit from the sea, like seaweed, for the people of Earth because they can't grow food anymore. I hope that doesn't happen. The other ones are trying to create water, drinkable water in some ways. So it's not a very pleasant thing, but it makes me wonder when people see these catastrophe scenes, does that mean something's going to happen or not? I don't know, but it's interesting when people see the same things again and again and again. But anyway, nobody knows what's going to be in the future, so it's an interesting thing to do anyway. If you were to have a personal one-on-one hypnosis session with me and you wanted to go into a future lifetime, not the future in this lifetime, but a future lifetime, you'd probably see something a little bit more personal, because we take a lot of time in the beginning to really get to know each other. I take a lot of time to get to know you and what's going on in your life. And more than likely, you would have that option. You could go to a past life or a future life. It really is up to where you need to go, the most appropriate place that you need to go to find the information that you need for what's going on with you right now. So this is just a light exercise. I'm not surprised if you didn't go anywhere too deep, but it's just so that you can feel what it feels like to be in a light state of hypnosis and to start visualizing and start seeing some images. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. I'll be looking for any comments that you have and be aware that you might be asking questions, and I'll try to get to that as soon as I can. I hope you benefited from the experience today. And if you do decide that you'd like to go a little deeper and explore a little bit into the subconscious of your own subconscious, where things get buried and we just aren't aware that these things are actually influencing our lives, but we don't know what they are. So it's helpful to go and take a look behind the curtain, if you will, and see what's actually happening there. And then we can start making decisions in our waking life that'll help improve our timeline choices and so forth. The good news is if you do decide you want to do a session, having gone through this preliminary exercise will really help you have a much smoother session. You'll be able to go much more deeply and get a lot more benefit. So if you're interested in having a session with me, just go to my website, www.quantumreality101.com. And you'll see all the information. You can do a quantum healing hypnosis session. That would have to be done in person. So you'd have to be kind of in the Los Angeles area for that to take place. And I can either come to your place or you can come to my home studio and we can have a session there. Usually takes between 4 to 6 hours. And the other option is if you don't live in Los Angeles, we could do a Beyond Quantum Healing session. And we can do that through Zoom or Skype. And that way you get to be at home, comfortable in your own space, and that works just as well. And we can go just as deep. So either option is available to you. Now the special that I'm offering right now for those of you who've gone through any one of these workshop days, I'm going to let you have 50% off of your session. And you can put that into the promo code box as you're checking out on the website, or you can message me, email me, and put that into the subject line. And the code is Regress YouTube, all uppercase, REGRESS YouTube. Put that into the coupon code or into the subject line of an email, and I'll give you 50% off of your session. It's limited, one per person, and that's good till the end of the year. So if you'd like to try this out, I highly recommend it. The energies are getting higher and more challenging, and the stuff that's getting stuck that has been stuck in the subconscious is starting to push up against and making us very uncomfortable. And it's not easy to do this alone, not with some like old traumas that you might be having or old karmic issues with relationships. You might be having health issues that are coming to the surface, just all kinds of things, phobias, old belief systems that are working against you, but you don't actually know what they are, this kind of thing. So you just start to get these things handled and brought to the surface so that you can deal with them in real time. It's very, very effective. I have lots of videos on my website, on my YouTube channel that you can look at to get further information about quantum healing. I've also got a couple of sessions that you can look at to see what it's like from that vantage point. So go ahead, give me a message, see what we can do. I have numerous playlists that you can look at having to do with self-hypnosis. If you want to continue to practice or see how it feels, maybe you can, cover some ground with some help self-hypnosis videos, which is absolutely fine. It's just with the tougher issues, it's good to have somebody on the upside as you're spelunking down into the deep caverns, it's good to have somebody on the top side who's asking questions, knows where you're at, and can help you navigate, because it gets a little murky down there. All right, well, I want to thank you all for coming today and for participating in today's workshop. And I'm going to have a link for the other 2 workshops so that way you can get caught up on all 3 of them. Dolores Cannon was an amazing person in her time, and we continue to do amazing things with her work going into the future. But really, it's not about the technique, but it's really about the people involved. So you and me working together create a synthesis, and we bring our own energies into it, and that's where the rubber meets the road. So the technique is great, but it's really about trust, and it's really about where you're at and me knowing where you're at and working, in sync and in harmony with that and your subconscious. So I hope you'll give me a call and stay tuned for the next episode of Day Trips Out of the Box. Have a great day, everybody.